Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation today. Here's that article talking about the comparison between the KKK and Planned Parenthood when it comes to the black community. This is on CNS News. Now listen to this. This is going to be our factoid of the day. This is the Fisher factoid of the day. So strap it on, get ready to commit this to memory because this is going to be useful. Trust me, this will be useful. This will be a factoid that will be useful for you for the rest of your life in discussions about abortion and racism and all that kind of thing. Now, the Ku Klux Klan, originated by Democrats, by the way, organized by Democrats, managed by Democrats, run by Democrats. Even Robert Byrd of West Virginia was a member of the Ku Klux Klan for years and years and years, was a Grand Kleagle or Grand Cyclops or whatever they call them. So these guys were out and out racist. And the NRA, remember, the NRA came into being to get guns into the hands of newly freed blacks at the conclusion of the Civil War so they could defend themselves against the Democrats, against the KKK, who were all Democrats. And that's why the NRA came into existence, started by evangelical Christians wanting to enable these newly freed black slaves. Remember, it was Republicans that freed the slaves. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican president. It was Republicans that freed the slaves, Republicans that were responsible for the passage of the Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and 65, Republicans responsible for the passage of the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments that gave blacks the right to vote, made them citizens of every state in the Union, and so forth. It was Democrats that fought those amendments. It was Republicans that passed them over the objections despite the filibusters and the resistance of the Democrats. So the KKK, it was Democrat run from day one. NRA was started by evangelical Christians to put guns in the hands of newly freed black citizens, black slaves, so they could exercise their Second Amendment rights of self-defense and self-protection. Now, here's where we get to the KKK thing. KKK was around for 86 years. And over the course of those 86 years, as you are aware, they lynched blacks. You've seen pictures of blacks hanging by ropes from bridges and things like that. So there's no question about it. The KKK is responsible for the deaths of blacks. They lynched these white Democrats. These Democrats went out and lynched blacks. I mean, that's just a fact of history. I'm not saying Democrats are out there doing that today. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that the KKK was a Democrat organization from day one to the day it went out of existence. Well, it might still be alive in some fashion or another in some places. At any rate, the KKK, this white Democrat racist group, lynched over the course of 86 years, they lynched 3,446 blacks, put them to death, completely innocent citizens, executed simply because of their race. 3,446 blacks. That's the death toll at the hands of the KKK. Now, here's what this article points out is this is a figure, 3,446 blacks over 86 years. That figure is matched in less than 4 days by the number of black babies that are aborted in the United States. This is information from Walter Hoy. He's been a guest on this program before. He's the founder and president of the Issues for Life Foundation. And his numbers are based on a fact sheet that comes from the Guttmacher Institute. That's the research arm of Planned Parenthood. So this is Planned Parenthood's own numbers. That's where this information is coming from. And they have a fact sheet on induced abortion in the United States. Now, what this fact sheet shows is back in 2008, that's the most recent year for which comprehensive numbers are available, 2.1 million abortions were performed in the United States. Of those, 432,000 were performed on black women. So 432,000 abortions performed on black babies in 2008 alone. So that means in 3 days, 3,550 black babies were aborted. In 4 days, it'd be 4,700. So reality then, and this is the factoid of the day, the number of black babies that are killed through abortion in 3 days is the same total of the number of blacks that were lynched by the KKK in 86 years. And yet the KKK is the organization that's demonized. And they ought to be demonized. I got no truck with them whatsoever. But Planned Parenthood, that's the point here. Planned Parenthood does more damage, is responsible for more deaths in the black community in 3 days than the KKK was in 86 years. So once again, in 86 years, the KKK lynched 3,446 blacks. Every 3 days, 3,550 black babies are aborted. Death toll is the same. 3 days, not just Planned Parenthood and other abortion clinics kill as many black babies in 3 days as the KKK killed in 86 years. So that is our factoid for the day. You know, I was on a radio program a couple of years ago, Black History Month, and black hosts, and I was a guest in the studio, first day of Black History Month, and we were there to talk about that. And the black host just got right in my face. I mean, right out of the chute. What have you done for blacks? What are you doing for the black community? And I said, well, I'm trying to keep Planned Parenthood from killing black babies. That's what I'm doing for the black community. And that, for some reason, wasn't satisfactory to him. And the conversation kind of went downhill from there. So anyway, that's our Fisher factoid for the day. That's a pretty astonishing fact, if you ask me. Again, just to tack this thing down, because you will need this and you will use this information in conversations in the future. Trust me about this. Planned Parenthood, or the abortion industry, because not every abortion is done by Planned Parenthood, but the abortion industry kills more blacks in 3 days than the KKK lynched in 86 years. Now, speaking of the abortion sanctity of life issue, Kermit Gosnell's sister got probation, and she was, let's see, I guess she just got probation. I'm not sure if she got any kind of actual prison time, but she was the one, Elizabeth Hampton is her name, and perhaps she got this lenient sentence because she testified against Gosnell, turned on him in her testimony. Turns out it was part of her cleaning duties. This is what came out in the trial for Kermit Gosnell. Part of her duties was to dispose of the large bottle on the suction machine that would fill up with blood and baby parts. Remember the suction machine? Gosnell would insert it into the cervix of the woman, into the womb, and would literally pull that baby apart, suck it into the suction machine, and the little blood and the baby parts would fill up this bottle. And it would be her job to empty this thing, pour the blood and the baby parts into the sink and grind them up using the garbage disposal. Like so much garbage. She just got probation for that. And maybe you saw that story about from China about the woman who gave birth to a baby in a toilet and basically flushed him down the sewer, and the baby survived. Neighbors heard it crying. They called their version of 911. People came. They had to use a saw to get the baby out of the sewage system, but the baby survived. It was a 5-pound baby boy. Took them an hour to extricate it from the pipes. But the baby is alive, and according to the report I read this morning, is healthy. But it's interesting, and this woman apparently was unmarried and didn't have any other children, and so apparently this was her way of kind of dealing with this problem that she had. Here's a piece from lifenews.com. Saturday's highly unusual case provoked a furious response on Chinese social media sites with hundreds of thousands of comments posted this week. Here's what one Chinese poster said. The parents who did this have hearts even filthier than that sewage pipe wrote one. So even the Chinese sort of aghast at what this woman had done, giving birth to her baby and flushing it into the sewer system. A Maryland abortionist lost her license. They discovered that she had stored 35 frozen aborted babies in her abortion clinic. The Maryland Board of Physicians has permanently revoked the license of abortionist Nicola I. Riley. In a blistering order issued May 6th, Riley was prohibited from ever again applying for licensure or reinstatement of her license. It was so bad. Riley's license was first suspended in September of 2010 after having perforated the uterus and pulled out a bowel of a patient at an illegal clandestine late-term abortion clinic in Elkton. Physicians found that part of the fetus had been shoved into the patient's abdominal cavity when Riley ruptured her uterus. When police raided the Elkton clinic, they found the remains of 35 frozen late-term aborted babies. Brigham's bi-state abortion business operates in both New Jersey, which bans abortions in clinics after 14 weeks, and nearby Maryland, which has no gestational limits on abortions. So listen to what this abortionist did. According to Operation Rescue, Brigham would initiate the late-term abortions in his New Jersey office. But remember, it's illegal in New Jersey after 4 weeks, so he couldn't finish them in New Jersey. He would just start them in New Jersey. Then he would ship the patients already in labor down to his clinic in Elkton, where he would complete these late-term abortion procedures. Here's what the Maryland Board said of Health. Dr. Riley's unprofessional conduct is not remediable. The board does not believe that Maryland patients would be safe in the hands of this physician. Dr. Riley's fraudulent acts and unprofessional treatment of the patient merit the permanent revocation of her medical license in this state. They faulted her for transferring a critically injured patient to a nearby hospital in the back seat of a rental car. So seriously injured, critically injured, required emergency care, took her to the hospital in the back seat of a rental car. So that is a winnable war, at least one abortionist out of business. Focal Point, AFR Talk.